For this week, we watched Superman. This is the launch of a brand new DC phase of movies.
I felt like I didn't get to know the characters as well as I would have liked.
It might not be the most powerful or most popular, but it will still hold itself as a Superman.
Hello, and welcome to the Pop Culture Contrarian podcast with Thomas, Sterling, and Andrew.
Hello.
Hey, guys.
Before we get started, make sure to go to patriotpost.us and subscribe. Give us your email address. Get your free daily newsletter from the Patriot Post. It's right. It's free. Go do that. And go check out patriotpostshop.com. Get a shirt, a sticker, a book, whatever. I'm wearing my Truth Will Set You Free t-shirt today. Go check that out. That's one of the best ways you can support us. Please go do that. For this week, we watched the movie everyone's watching right now, Superman. Dun, 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 dun. What is this Superman movie? Is this a origin story? Is this who is Superman once again?
I wouldn't say so. You know, it's kind of assumes you already know Superman and he's Supermaning.
Or super losing.
Well, yeah, right out the gate.
Yeah.
That's true. The movie opens and you see... I guess it opens on Antarctica, and there's a little crawl, caption crawl at the beginning, and it says 300 years ago, the first metahumans showed up on Earth, and then 30 years ago, Superman was sent to Earth as a child, or Kal-El was sent to Earth as a child. 3 years ago, he revealed himself as Superman, and 3 minutes ago, he lost his first fight.
Yeah.
Antarctica, which is a difference from the Christopher Reeves, right? Because wasn't he in the Arctic?
In the Arctic. I think it's usually pretty vague. I don't know.
Well, he travels north, I remember, through Canada in the original.
Yeah, I guess that's true. It is.
So
it's
the Arctic
yeah.
is, and this is a switch.
Mm-hmm.
Which
makes sense. Yeah.
Honestly, being in Antarctica makes more sense than being in
the Arctic,
near the North Pole.
Yeah.
Maybe hangs out with Santa Claus.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Superman and Santa Claus, the two great American heroes.
Yeah, he launches the sleigh on Christmas Eve.
Oh, there you go. The movie starts off, Superman has just lost his first fight, and you meet maybe the first, I guess not maybe, for the first time on the big screen, you meet Krypto, the super dog. So if you don't know, Krypto, the super dog, is a Kryptonian dog.
Yeah.
Who has all of Superman's powers, but he's a dog. In the comics, there's all sorts of different things that made it off of Krypton before it blew up. But Jor and Kara-El don't make it off. That's pretty much a solid rule. It's like Uncle Ben dying in Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They have to die.
Yes.
Maybe they do a version where they didn't die.
I don't think so.
I can't think of any.
I think it's canon that they die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could mess with canon, right? I mean, that's all the rage right now.
So here's a question.
That's a whole can of worms.
Before we dive in, here's a question for you two. Have either of y'all read DC Superman comics, like the actual comic books?
Nope.
No.
Okay, me neither. So we're all movie Superman fans, I guess.
So, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm judging this by the movie lore, not the comic book lore.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. The reason I would ask that question for this movie, though, is unlike Superman Christopher Reeves in 81, whenever that was, where it's telling you who Superman is, and unlike Man of Steel, where, again, it's an origin story, this one kind of assumes you know who Superman is and start taking you deep into, like, comics level Superman lore, basically, very quickly.
I assume the story was completely new. It didn't come out of one of the comics.
I haven't seen anyone directly saying this is based on this comic. No.
Okay.
But obviously, most of these ideas are very common in the comics. And one thing I'll touch on this quickly is Lex Luthor's demented hatred of Superman. Mm-hmm. It shows up in the movies, but in the comics, it's like, you don't understand. Like, this guy is the number one hater. Like, if there is one guy who hates better than anyone else in the comics, it's Lex Luthor.
Hate. Double hate. Loathe entirely.
They really nail the aspect of Luthor just despising Superman as a person. Just like, I can't stand you. I'm going to dedicate everything I can to destroying you.
Yeah. Yeah, he hates that he is extra human, basically.
Yeah. Okay, so the movie starts with him losing this fight. He comes back to fight again and loses again, and the bad guy gets away. And it's revealed mid-fight that Lex Luthor is orchestrating this whole fight. He's controlling this villain who's called the Hammer of Moravia or something like that.
Yeah.
The whole movie is a big convoluted plot from Lex Luthor to destroy Superman.
Right.
That's, if there's one thing to know about this movie, it's that. That's the thing.
This movie is it's a total brand new cast, a new actor for Superman. So there's going to be those comparisons. It's inevitable. I mean, we just came off of Henry Cavill, who was the prior Superman for 4 movies?
Superman, Batman and Superman, and then 2 versions of Justice League. So 3 movies.
3 movies. Okay. I mean, I was a fan of him as Superman. I thought he really embodied it well. There was, and I don't remember the actor's name who did Superman Returns. He just did the one film.
Yeah, Brandon Routh.
But
so a lot of these actors have appeared in like the CW TV shows, Supergirl, the Arrowverse.
Okay.
There's a whole like 6-season TV show with Superman with a different live action Superman. Let me pull that up. That other TV show is Superman and Lois. So that's very recent Superman. He's played by Tyler Hoechlin in that one.
And then, of course, Christopher Reeves, who most of us see as the standard setter for at least the movie version of Superman as an actor. I mean, he defined Superman.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And every actor since has kind of leaned into certain elements or strayed from it to try to give their own twist to it. I would say that this latest is a mix. I think they're all probably a little bit of a mix, but this one feels more, my opinion, he captures more of the Christopher Reeves lightheartedness that maybe Henry Cavill didn't have. To me, the jury's still out on this guy. I'm not sure what I think about him.
David Corn Sweat perform as Superman, as Kal-El, as Clark Kent. I think he did just fine, did a pretty great job. My issues with this movie, to the degree that I have them, are not about his performance or really anyone's performance. Yeah. I think the actors did a great job.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to start there because it's Superman. Everybody's going to automatically say, did this guy embody Superman? Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm kind of bringing it up right from the very beginning, because the way they introduce it, like you pointed out, we're not getting the origin story. We don't get any backstory on this version of Superman. It's just
except as it comes out in conversation.
Yeah, it's a story that we all know. He grew, he's from Krypton. He was adopted by parents in Kansas. He works at the Daily Planet. His girlfriend is Lois Lane.
You could almost watch the Christopher Reeves Superman movie and then watch this movie as a sequel to it, and it would play decently well in that sense. Superman's very good. I think Lex Luthor is also very good. He's played by Nicholas Hoult. From minute one, cackling evil. He's got a little bit of the kind of humorous aspect from the 80s movies as well, but he just hates Superman so much. Mm-hmm. He's smooth, he's slick, he's very, very good at picking apart Superman, and you believe this is a super villain genius guy. Like, there's no question in your mind that this guy's a genius.
And there's some really fascinating aspects of how he goes about his dismantling of Superman. Mm-hmm. And I would argue some of these themes actually make their way from current events in that we are seeing here today. One in particular that stood out was the disinformation campaign that he put forth. And he literally has an army of troll monkeys on computers, like putting out disinformation onto the internet, which is obviously like a quip at big tech, social media, or even nation states or big corporations or whatever, seeding whatever it is their will out into the world, frequently lies. Yeah. And we know this. Essentially, he's just trying to discredit Superman by way of lies and also truth, but truth manipulated.
So just to be clear, that's not a racial term. They're actual monkeys typing on keyboards.
Literally monkeys.
Literally monkeys.
I don't use racial slurs.
No. I was making a joke, but that's one thing that's maybe helpful to know about this movie is nothing is too ridiculous. You can have monkeys typing on keyboards talking about how crap Superman is and how no one should support Superman. And that's not even one of the weirder things in this movie.
They use both, and of course, this is a movie review, spoiler alert to the utmost, but they use the recovered message from Superman's parents that more or less say, hey, Superman, you are to go to Earth and not just be benevolent and good, but also to rule more or less, or at least just be like this powerful, have lots of wives and be in charge of stuff.
Well, I think they say kill anyone who opposes you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of a big reveal is Superman had in this story had never seen the full message. He'd only seen the beginning where they're telling him how much they love him and how much they cared for him to get him off their planet. And then Lex Luthor breaks in and steals the message and is able to recover the rest of it. And it's, as far as the movie depicts it, Lex Luthor just genuinely restores the message and genuinely broadcasts it. He doesn't edit it. And the full message that Clark had never seen was, we love you more than life. We love you more than land. Go conquer Earth and have a harem and kill anyone who opposes you.
It wasn't super clear to me that it hadn't been super clear that it hadn't been doctored. I remember after we even left the theater, my wife and I and our friends that we were with, we were still unsure of the genuine nature of it, even though I think that would be the first thing I'd want to do because so much missing information between the two. But they accept it as if what Luthor puts out there is true. And then there's this question of, well, who am I really? Am I who my father told me to be? Or am I something different? And then this is where he really leans into his human parents, his adopted parents, and what they instilled in him, except even what they instill in him is a little bit weak sauce.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I think was one of the weakest elements of this version compared to the first one with Christopher Reeves. Christopher Reeves is very clear that he knows who he is because of both of his fathers. That's
I think from a Christian and just I think a good parenting perspective.
Right.
That's something that you're actually told. Like Sterling was not inventing in my own head at age 10 or 20 or any age. Here's who I am. I was told who I am. Yeah. You're our child. You're the child of God. God says this about you. This is who you should be. You know, I didn't invent that.
Yeah.
I was told.
Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he shall not depart from it.
There you go.
Right. Where does his morality come from? I mean, he clearly has a moral compass. And in fact, that was interesting because he ends a war because people are going to die.
Yep. And that's his moral compass. Yeah. His moral compass is empathy. I think, mainly.
Yeah. I keep people from dying, keep people from suffering. Yeah. Avoid pain.
Pretty much.
Which is not a great moral compass.
It's like you do you, but don't hurt anybody, and make sure other people don't hurt other people.
Yeah. To be clear, so you referenced that he ends a war because people are going to die. There's a clip that's in the trailers, I think, where Lois is interviewing Clark as Superman, and they're already dating, so there's no big reveal there. She's pushing him on ending this war he just ended between, I think it's Baravia and Jara Mapur or something like that.
Some fictional countries.
Fictional
obviously.
Middle Eastern type countries.
Right. And he says people were going to die, and that's his angry response for what he did. But then he explains, you and I both know Baravia is acting maliciously. We both know that. And it's not entirely clear why you know that at that point in the movie. I actually wondered when they first dropped that in the interview near the beginning of the movie, is this like some stand-in for some real world conflicts? Is this like Israel-Iran? Is this Pakistan-India? What's going on here?
Yeah. You kind of have to fill in your own blanks there.
Mm-hmm. But then, of course, the movie explains, Lex Luthor actually drops the line at the end that he manufactured the conflict between Baravia and in order to get Superman. Like all of this, everything that you're told about in this plot is Lex Luthor's plot to get Superman.
Well, he does have a secondary plot. He wants that country's oil.
Yeah, as a bonus.
So there's this.
He also wants to be king.
Part of it for me was there's this kind of knock against capitalism to some degree.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe,
or at least against crony corporatism.
Right. Then that's fair. I mean, one of the things that the famous line of Superman, truth, justice, in the American way is absent in this movie.
Yeah.
And so that question of what is your standard morality? Why do you do what you do? Is being asked, but it's not being answered in the way it has been in the past.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just for the record, I think that line has, unfortunately, I'm not happy about this, but I think it's been missing in every Superman adaptation this century. Because I know in Superman Returns, Perry White, the newspaper editor for the Daily Planet, says when they're talking about, oh, Superman's back, we need to write about it. He says, find out, is he still about truth, justice, all that stuff?
Yeah, all that stuff.
And then I think Henry Cavill's Superman, they don't even like touch on it at all that I can think of.
Yeah, I don't recall that either. I do think that that's unfortunate, and it tells you there is a undercurrent within Hollywood that's long existed that basically has a negative, culturally embarrassed view of American culture, or mixed, maybe put it that way. The idea of just being proud of America and believing it to be the greatest country in the world is now something that we don't want to herald too loudly.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, you can't have Superman stand for the American way. How
right.
bigoted is that kind of thing?
Well, especially because Superman is an immigrant.
Except, he's
an alien.
He was adopted as a baby by people in Kansas. I think at that point he's an American.
Yeah, no, I agree completely.
Right.
But there have been some commentary out in the internet about this is like a theme of immigration. A lot of the themes that can be attributed to current events can be, but I don't know that they explicitly are.
Right. It doesn't really try to be preachy. It could have. It doesn't try to be. The director made comments in the last week before this movie came out about how this is about politics, it's about immigrants, but that's not really in the movie. I don't know why he said those things.
Yeah.
If he was trying to tank his own movie, if he thought it'd be good publicity, I don't know.
And didn't tank it.
No, it's doing quite well. It's
I think
$200 million its first weekend.
Yeah, I think you can, if you want to, you can read things into it, but they're not explicit by any means. I do think the bigger issues are just the themes of morality and identity that it plays with and speaks to more strongly than anything regarding modern politics.
Yeah.
Well, there is an interesting theme, actually, that's kind of an inversion of kind of a modern woke kind of theme, which is Lex Luthor's hatred of Superman. And they go into it, and Lex explains, yeah, I'm just jealous. Mm-hmm. I know I'm jealous. I'm fully aware, and I've decided to use it to help me kill you better.
Yeah.
And he's just like, yeah, I'm jealous of what you have. I want to have that. I can't, so I'm going to try to destroy you, which is kind of
communism.
Well, it's kind of communism. Yeah. It's kind of wokeism, communism. Yeah. It's a lot of what you see of, I don't think there should be billionaires kind of stuff.
If we can't all have it, nobody can.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it is that the destroyer mentality that of envy and jealousy that envy is probably the better word that really just that wants to destroy those that have what you don't have.
Right. What you, in this case, can't have.
Can't have.
So we've talked about Superman and Lex a little bit. We've touched on Lois, so let's talk about Lois for a minute. So one thing about the Superman-Lois relationship, because at the beginning of the story of this movie, they're already been dating for 3 months or something like that.
Yeah.
The first time you see them together as a couple, Clark is cooking dinner for Lois when she comes home. It's very quickly implied that they are having a sexual relationship.
They seem to be living together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, I think one of the things I like about Superman is that not only is he the strongest and the bravest, but he's also he's a goody two-shoes. He's a Boy Scout.
Yeah, he's a traditionally moral person.
Right. And having sex with somebody you've only been dating for 3 months or someone you're not married to at all is not a Boy Scout thing to do.
Right.
And so I was like, I'm not crazy about that. I get it's 2025. Okay, you think it's normal or you think it's going to be normal. I dispute that, but that's what the director thought when he was making the movie, I guess.
I thought to that theme, and I thought it was interesting because I'm going to take it back to the very beginning where you see him lose his first fight. He's laying there bleeding, which is, to me, highly unusual for the Superman character outside of any kind of kryptonite being used to weaken him, to make him more mortal in a sense. So that was strange. I felt like what James Gunn was doing here, the director, he seemed to be leaning into this, I want to make Superman more human, and I really want to hit on his humanness. And that, I think, was also coming through in like his relationship with Lois Lane. Maybe he has superpowers, But is his character super? Is his morality super? Is he above the rest of us when it comes to that? Not really.
Right. And I'm going to call it a mess up.
Yeah.
Because Superman, if someone like that existed, someone with that much power who could basically, hurtle the moon into the planet if he wanted to.
Right.
Has to have super morality.
Yeah.
He has to.
Right.
Or else no one's going to trust him, and Lex Luthor would be right that we need to kill him.
When you talk about the person of Christ, he is the perfect God-man. He's both 100% God and 100% human. In a sense, Superman kind of is a shadow of that, especially in the very first Superman film with Christopher Reeves, where Jor-El is telling him as he's teaching him, as he's traveling to the planet, telling him what he's going to be, telling him how he's going to be this special individual for planet Earth and how he needs to look out for the people of planet Earth and how he's effectively a savior for the people.
Yeah. Well, that's not exclusive to the first one. It's also played up very heavily in Superman Returns and in the Henry Cavill one.
Right.
It's almost just a constant that Superman is obviously a Christ stand-in.
So it seems,
until this movie.
It seems like what James Gunn has done here is kind of gone into, for lack of a better term, the Aryan heresy, which is the idea that, well, he's more man than he is God. He's more human, and therefore he's more like us. He's more lower. He's less powerful in a sense. And yes, he did do these great fighting scenes, but most of the time, especially when Luthor has figured out how to fight against him, he's beating him. He's in fact beating him to the punch, literally at every move, and you're just seeing him beat up Superman over and over and over again. And it's kind of like a lesser Superman is what it felt like I was watching for most of the movie. It
does feel that way. I'm going to address point by point some of the things you raised. So the first thing you raised is the opening scene. You see Superman laying in the snow bleeding.
Yeah.
And one, that should raise a question for you.
Yeah.
If you know who Superman is, if you know his powers, and you know he hasn't been affected by kryptonite, how could he be bleeding?
Right.
And you should be thinking about that pretty much the whole movie. It's like, how could this be? And turns out there's a good explanation for it. It's not just that he got hit by someone really strong. There's a good reason why he's bleeding in this specific scenario. But two, the point you raised, Lex has figured out how to fight Superman, both with his hammer of Baravia guy and with all these other methods. He's figured out how to do it.
He's the brains.
He's the brains. He's figured out how to defeat him morally. He's figured out how to defeat him socially. He's figured out how to defeat him physically in at least 3 ways that I can think of.
Yeah.
I think what happened there is James Gunn was tasked with writing and directing the new Superman movie. And he's like, well, what's the big problem everyone has with Superman when you're telling a Superman story?
He's too perfect.
He's too perfect. He's too strong. It's hard to come up with stakes because it's just like, well, Superman can just fly back in time and fix everything.
Yeah.
And in this, he made sure that one, Superman's on his heels the whole time, so he never has a chance to get ahead of what's going on. And two, he just makes sure that Lex has seen all this, seen all of Superman's massive advantages, and has already strategized before the movie starts how to overcome them. But the result is, as you pointed out, Thomas, this Superman does not feel as super as the other Superman. Even though I think it's well justified. It's like, okay, I can see how a Lex Luthor could have come up with all these methods to do this to Superman.
I feel like the challenge with Superman, because of his powers, the challenge you have to do when you're writing a story of him having to engage in has to be more of one of moral conundrum, where he's challenged in that sense, not his physical strength being limited necessarily, but the decisions he has to make, and he has to plot out and figure out what is the right thing for me to do in this instance.
Yeah.
That's pretty much absent in this movie.
That's right, because even though Lex has all these layers of plans, moral, social, etc., the solution from Superman's perspective is punch things. Punch things harder. And thankfully there's some cleverness so it doesn't feel that way, but that is, if you boil it down, kind of what happens. But let's talk about some of the other characters. So we talked about Lois. Y'all got anything you want to say about Lois?
It really doesn't get much into her. I mean, the most deep you get is her having this conundrum of trying to interview Superman when she's dating Clark Kent. and then like being unable to use on the record things.
I'll say there's kind of a whole characterization of the Daily Wire or Daily Planet team. You get these characters that you may or may not know from some of the cartoons and comics, but they're not really in the movies, aside from Jimmy Olsen and Perry White. So Jimmy Olsen is Superman's sidekick, photographer guy, and Perry White is the editor-in-chief. And there's a great moment where the entire city of Metropolis is fleeing, everyone's panicking, and Perry and Lois and Jimmy are all just working on their story to take down Lex Luthor, and they're just like completely unfazed.
Yeah.
Because they're like, we're veteran journalists, we're gonna take care of this.
We're so used to all of Metropolis just being thrown into shambles
Right.
every week.
Right. So there's those characters, and they're very fun. And then some of the lesser known Daily Planet characters are in this movie as well. And that's fun if you know who they are. If you don't, they're interesting new characters, I guess.
Yeah.
But then there's another team of characters. There is the Justice Gang.
The Justice Gang. Yeah.
That was an interesting
What a great
element.
name.
Yeah.
And I almost felt a little bit like Green Lantern was like doing what Superman you would expect to do. Just boom, 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 beating everybody, just, raising his arm and everything's getting blown up around him. And it was an interesting juxtaposition to Superman who, like you said, is on his heels basically the whole movie. He has to recover from the fight from the very beginning when you see him, and he's never quite 100%. And then there's this other team of superheroes that can come in and basically clean up whenever needed.
Well, they're getting to be proactive. Lex Luthor isn't actively trying to ruin their lives.
He doesn't really care about them. It's interesting.
So the Justice Gang is Green Lantern, who is not the Green Lantern most people probably think of is Hal Jordan. There's also John Stewart and maybe some others. But this is Guy Gardner, who is in the comics famously a jerk. He kind of comes off that way. He's not completely a jerk in this movie, but he's definitely abrasive.
Yeah. He is, but he's also, I felt like one of the more lovable characters in one sense.
Well, it's Nathan Fillion. Yeah, he's got so much
He's
charisma.
so good, and I felt like he was the perfect type of comic relief that balanced things a little bit. Such self-deprecating humor, even though it's not intended.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that element of it, and I would love to see a movie with him as the lead.
Cool. I think it's pretty clear he's going to be in some of the future projects for the DC universe, DCEU, because this is the launch of a brand new DC phase of movies.
Yep.
And makes sense you'd start with Superman. So there's Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, and then there's Hawk Girl. I don't know much about Hawk Girl. She has a weapon called Nth Metal or something like that, and it's super duper strong. It's a mace, and she flies around and she screams at people. And yeah.
It reminded me of that The Witch. Remember, I'm a witch.
Oh.
No, I don't know.
You don't remember that?
No, what's that from?
Yeah, we're going to roll the clip.
Yeah.
Do you know what makes me special? I'm a queer. And I'm a witch!
The Justice Gang is Green Lantern, Hawk Girl, and then Mr. Terrific.
Yeah, Mr. Terrific. I like Mr. Terrific.
I like Mr. Terrific too. I know nothing about Mr. Terrific.
Yeah.
Literally, this is my first introduction to him. I'd heard the name before, and that's it.
Yeah, he's just like a super smart dude.
He's kind of Tony Stark without armor.
Yeah.
And instead of armor, he put all his efforts into making these little flying orb drone things.
Yeah, that like kind of do everything, protect and
punch people.
Yeah.
And
Was the egg ship Mr. Terrific's as well?
yes.
Yeah, that's his ship.
Yeah. So he has a little UFO ship.
That anyone can fly because Lois gets to fly.
It's super intuitive.
It's super intuitive.
Which, I mean, ultimately was. She got to fly it. And
I mean, I thought that explanation worked perfect for what, the scenario. Well, it's intuitive, super intuitive.
Just stick your hands
Whatever
in,
you're going
fly
to
the
do,
thing.
you'll be able to fly it.
Yeah. That's so funny.
There's a lot of that in this movie where it's just like, okay, we're keeping things moving. Here's one throwaway line of dialogue to explain what's going on and moving on.
And then go.
Like there's a whole subplot where Lex Luthor has created a pocket universe.
I know.
And it's just like, yes, there's a pocket universe. He can teleport in and out of this pocket universe.
What is a
monkeys
pocket universe?
It's like a little...
It's like a tiny home.
It's a tiny home universe, yeah. It's like your own personal universe.
It's got a anti-proton river in it that Superman gets stuck in.
Don't fall into it because it could take you into the black hole.
Right.
And he's got just all of his prisoners and his cyber warfare monkeys.
And
his
glass
ex-girlfriends.
boxes.
Yes.
And big glass boxes. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a throwaway line where Lex has imprisoned one of his ex-girlfriends because she wrote a mean blog post about him, I think.
Yes. Another interesting theme on imprisonment is there at one point there's a headline where like UN or whatever like condemns the United States for holding Superman against the Geneva Convention. And then there's one of the guys walking him to take him away, and he's like, I haven't been read my rights. It's like, you're an alien. You don't have any rights.
So that's General Rick Flag who says that. He's a pretty big Superman character in the newer comics. I don't know much about him, but that's an actual, like, all of the characters in this movie are comics characters, even if they haven't been in the movies before, which is interesting to know.
I think at that point, that's about the time when Lex takes Superman to the Pocket Universe as a prisoner.
Yeah, and that's where you meet another character who becomes part of the Justice Gang. Spoiler there. Metamorpho.
Yeah.
I didn't know who this was. I spent the entire movie thinking, man, Martian Manhunter looks really weird.
Yeah.
I thought this was Martian Manhunter, and I was like, I didn't remember that he had all these powers, but okay, it looks like Martian Manhunter to me.
Yeah, it's Metamorpho.
It's Metamorpho, a whole different guy. I'd never heard of him before.
It's briefly kryptonite.
Yeah, he can turn into any element, and so that includes kryptonite, and so he's used to help keep Superman in prison.
But he ultimately becomes like a really cool dude. The way he talks is just so chill and not how you would expect. I don't even know how to describe his accent, but it's just like a very regular guy sounding accent. And
yeah. So that was interesting. All these characters you just hadn't met before. In the Pocket Universe, there's one thing that I thought was a nicely handled way to nerf Superman. Because that's, like I said, the problem you have with Superman is you have to nerf him in like every fight or else it's over too quickly. Yeah. And in this one, it was real simple. Superman has to hold a baby while he's fighting. So that's interesting. And then there's a whole subplot with Krypto where Lex has also kidnapped Krypto. And so Superman loses his cool to go try to find and rescue Krypto.
Yeah.
Who turns out not to even be his dog.
Yeah. So at the very end of the movie, Supergirl shows up and Krypto is actually Supergirl's dog, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Fun fact that throws Superman back to the Boy Scout morality is he talks about his cousin, at the end when they're hanging out, and she leaves, and it's like, oh, she's going to the red sun planets where it's possible for people to get drunk and party and stuff for the super people to.
Because the yellow sun is what gives Superman his power, so he has to go to a red sun planet to get drunk.
Yeah, but he's on the yellow sun planet, and so he can never get drunk.
So there you go.
Yeah.
He can drink as much as he wants. It doesn't matter.
Yep, it's funny.
Another thing, just because it's Superman, they're dropping some language in this film that I was a little surprised with.
Yeah. Superman only uses it when he's quoting criticism of himself. Every other time where he's given a chance to curse, he says, "What the hey, man," or "Dang it, I can be a real jerk sometimes." And he doesn't use language, but yeah, all the other characters in this movie are dropping S-bombs, B-bombs, all sorts of
including Supergirl. That's when she leaves, remember?
Yeah.
And that's, I think, comes to that point of, she's headed to a red sun.
To go get drunk.
Yeah.
Right. And party.
To go party, yeah. And Superman's worried about her partying, of course.
Yep.
Okay, there's a lot to this movie. It's a very fast movie. There's a lot that goes on. I think we've kind of touched on all the interesting aspects of it. Way out of order, so, spoilers, but also you'll have to watch it to know what the heck we're talking about.
We made it all convoluted for you.
Yes.
You're welcome.
You're welcome?
Yeah. All right, let's get to our scores.
Okay.
Andrew, you wanna give us your first woke free meter score?
Yeah. So for woke free, I scored a 7. The only reason, this is another one of those interesting films where it's not preachy, it's not really obvious that there are woke undertones, but it is a departure from earlier Superman where it is much more like, for sure, this is a like standard moral person with a code that makes sense. Really, I would argue it's more along the lines of secularism than woke. I don't really know that woke is the appropriate terminology to describe really anything in this film. But because that's our scale, I'll give it a 7 just because it is a secular movie.
Yeah, I waffled on this one between different numbers. I ended up on 6. I think more because of some of the themes. It definitely moves away from, kind of like you were saying, secularism, but it also is this kind of you define yourself, be true to who you are, let nobody else impose upon you any type of identity, maybe even moral system. And so it's very ironically anti-morality, traditionally at least, or conservatively. So didn't have any of the LGBTQ messaging that I saw, at least overtly, that I noticed.
I agree, Andrew, with your point that it's not really wokeness for this one. There's like one thing I can think of that I'd say is more woke than secular. But mostly I took points off, as you were saying, because of secularism, because there's no Christian parallels, I don't really think, in this movie, unlike with the previous ones. The casual sex I've touched on, the language we've touched on. One thing that I'd say is kind of woke, but it's even that I'm kind of stretching, is there's a scene at the Pentagon with like 5 top leaders at the Pentagon, and they are, I think it's an Indian guy, a black woman, and one white guy, and then maybe the 2 other people aren't really characters. So I guess they're white guys. But it's just like, okay, everything's perfect, always, in any room, anywhere in the entire story. It doesn't really eat at you while you're watching it. You don't notice it. It's done well, but it's just, any movie these days has to have the perfect racial breakdown and gender breakdown in any scene all the time. But, there is no LGBTQ stuff in this movie that I noticed.
I didn't notice it.
Good job. So I gave it a 6 out of 10 as well, but it's mostly, as we said, for the secular things. IQ, how well written is it? I gave this a 7. I think it is well written, especially the main plot of Luthor versus Superman. Very well done, believable that Superman would have trouble with the things Luthor's throwing at him. But I just felt like this movie had too many things in it. Not that I didn't like them. I liked the things in it. It was just too many of them. Do a few less. So I think maybe it could have done with some editing, even though it's only like 2 hours and 5 minutes. So I gave it 7.
I gave it a 6. I felt like it was a little bit too rushed. I wanted more lean into the character development. I know we were talking about how this is more comic booky, and it is. It does feel more comic booky, which is, in a comic book, naturally, you don't have heavy dialogue, so you just got to get bits here and here and here, and the image driven, and that's your story. I just think it was a little too much compared to some of the other movies I enjoy. I felt like I didn't get to know the characters as well as I would have liked to. I would have liked to learn a little bit more on the new Superman, a little bit more on Lois Lane, this new Lois Lane. More than, hey, we've been dating for 3 months and yada yada. Like, let's go on. It felt like this. It felt like a part 2 of a movie that's already come out, and that backstory you just don't get any. You're just expected to just kind of pick it up and run with it. And I understand it to some degree, but I do feel like it was a little frustrating.
I gave it an 8, and I think because I know it is the launching off of a new franchise, and I think that they wanted to just include all the things.
Yeah.
And you could argue that that is too much, or that it is not deep enough in one area, but I think it does at least lay somewhat of a foundation that maybe you can go deeper into in later movies. So
yeah, I agree with that. I think as a stepping off point for the rest of the DC, it does a great job. I think as this movie, as this standalone movie, it's kind of a detraction that they do that.
Fair assessment.
One thing I will say just that I forgot to mention is that the Superman comics fans love this movie from everything I've seen, that's a big kind of departure from what a lot of franchises have been doing recently. They've been ignoring their core audience in favor of broader audiences. So I'll take it. If I'm not necessarily the biggest Superman fan in the world, ask the Superman fans what they want to see, and then I'll take what I get. And that's the right way to do it.
Yeah, agreed.
And so I'm pleased that they did that for this one. That's how I think they did it. Artistic value, I gave it a 6. It's not ugly or anything. I don't think this movie was trying to be the most visually appealing. I think if you want the most visually appealing, Superman Returns or Man of Steel or merely any of the other Superman movies is more, for my money, visually appealing. But there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, that's not what it was going for.
Yeah, I gave it a 7. Similarly, it doesn't wow you. The only real new kind of element that I noticed was when he was flying, they almost had it seemed a little bit like a fisheye lens on, his face. So the camera's like right on him as he's, flying through the air and moving. And it kind of gives you a little bit of a distorted look because, the rest of his body's all small behind it. But it kind of worked too. I mean, it helps you kind of imagine, if you're flying and the camera's right there in front of you, that's kind of what it's going to look like. There wasn't a lot of like stunning saving kind of elements. I think the one that I remember is this building that's almost toppled over. He holds it up just long enough so the lady can get out from under it. She's in her car and drive away right before it crashes.
I gave it an 8, not for any reason other than I thought it was visually interesting enough for what it is.
There was one artistic moment that stuck out to me as like, ooh, I don't want to see that. And I'm going to mention it, is there's a moment they're fighting a big monster. And Green Lantern, if you don't know anything about Green Lantern, he has a ring that can let him conjure anything he can imagine. And for some reason, he imagines a giant eye-poking machine to poke the eye of the monster.
That was pretty
And you're
funny.
given a big close-up of that. And I don't want to see that.
I actually thought that was hilarious.
It was funny, but I just don't want to see it, really. So that's, that's the kind of thing that made me give it a 6 instead of a 8 or whatever. Entertainment value, I give it a 9. I was very entertained throughout this movie. I was interested to see how Lex's plot would progress. I was, interested in all of the characters on screen at any moment, including Jimmy Olsen has a very interesting little subplot where apparently all the ladies can't keep away from him.
Yeah.
Which is pretty funny.
That is funny.
And he thinks this one drop dead gorgeous girl, he thinks she's super ugly. And at one point, Lois is like, how do you get these hotties to go for you? And he's like, hot? Which was just funny.
Yeah. And he's just like this little dumpy reporter guy.
Right. He's Jimmy Olsen. He's nothing special.
Yeah.
So I thought that was funny. It was very entertaining. Superman's fights are good. 9.
I gave it a 6. There were moments in which it's for the same kind of things. I just didn't feel like I connected with the main characters as well, and I wasn't invested in them emotionally. Yeah, to be quite honest.
I gave it a 6 as well, and for similar reasons. Another reason maybe is just because I was super duper trying to focus on like all of the plots, and there are a lot of them. And I think if I just sat there and just turned off my brain, it would have been more entertaining. But if you're actually trying to watch the movie and figure it out, it's a little bit of work. So it was less entertainment.
Legacy score. This is the problem with this category at all is that we don't know. We're guessing. I think legacy score, I'm giving it an 8. And this is where I'm giving it points back for setting up the DC universe, because I think it does a good job. I think we'll probably see 3 to 5 DC movies come out of this one movie that are successful, if I'm guessing, which is what I'm doing. So I gave it an 8 for that reason.
I gave this 5. Is this the most memorable Superman? No. Is this, to what you're saying, is it setting up a new kind of DC universe to Marvel that of Marvel? I don't know. The box office numbers look promising, that's for sure. So from that standpoint, it's a success. As far as the whole feel of the movie, in years from now, we're going to look and say this was one of the best Supermans. I doubt it.
I gave this an 8. I think it's a Superman movie. And there are less of them than other movies. And I just think that because it has that name, it's going to be on the list. It might not be the most powerful or most popular, but it will still hold itself as a Superman movie.
And there are definitely worse Superman movies. I think Superman 3 and 4 with Christopher Reeves, no one really cares about those. So, it's not the worst one.
No.
And, like Batman versus Superman was silly in certain aspects where it wasn't trying to be, unlike this, which is silly on purpose. So, not the worst one. I think it'll probably hold up decently well. There will be a lot of things where it's like, it's the first time you saw Krypto. It's the first time you saw all these characters come together in a Superman movie. So I think it'll have some staying power because of that.
Is James Gunn scheduled to do the next movies from this, or do we know?
I don't know.
Because I would wonder, I would think possibly if he does the next Superman film out of this, the Superman film, not Green Lantern or anything, it could be better than this one. This is the kind of the setup, maybe you could say, like you were saying.
Yeah, it's a universe setup.
So now he's kind of established a foundation for his universe, as it were.
Yeah.
Now he can kind of like build on it. Maybe it would be more focused.
I think what's happening is James Gunn is he's had his movie to set the tone, and then he's going to step back and take, if you understand this reference, a Kevin Feige role. Kevin Feige is the guy who has coordinated all of the MCU projects since the beginning. And so now he's directed a movie. Now he's stepping back into that role, and he'll produce some of the others, but I don't think he's directing that we know of.
Okay. Well, it'll be interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah.
Can it rival Marvel?
That's
can it rival the Marvel of 2025? Yeah.
Yeah.
Can it rival Marvel of 2012? I don't know if anything ever will.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I did watch Thunderbolts again recently, and that movie holds up.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I haven't picked it up yet. I'm going to have to do that because I do like it.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, that gives us our total scores. Mine was 7.2 out of 10. Andrew, yours was 7.4. And Thomas, you were harsh with a 6.0.
Yeah.
Which gives the total PopCon rating of 6.9. So we could round it up even further and say 7, but I already rounded it up from 6.86. So
6.9.
Yeah. There you go. All right, guys, is this
D+.
movie family should go see?
It depends on how old your kids are.
Yeah, I think PG-13 is appropriate.
Yeah, because the language primarily. I mean, beyond that.
There's some kind of sexual stuff, but it's not like crazy or anything like that.
Yeah, I think older, is PG-13, so 13 up, probably.
Yeah.
Is that what it was rated?
Yes. Yeah. They couldn't use those curse words otherwise.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. That's been our rating on Superman. We are the Pop Culture Contrarian. We're brought to you by the Patriot Post, which is the oldest conservative news digest on the web. It's right and it's free. Go like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon on YouTube so you see when we drop a new video. Leave us a comment. Send us an email at staff@patriotpost.us. Let us know what you'd like us to talk about, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
See you guys.